Hi guys, it's Lee Anderton here from Andertons Music Company. I'm joined today by Julian from Yamaha, who is one of the guitar product specialists that get to work with all their top designers to make new products for you and I. And we've got some new toys here today, haven't we? So tell us what we've got.
Yeah, basically we've got some new THRs. So we launched the original THR10 and THR5 last year.
I remember.
And this time around, new model THR10, so THR10C, THR10X, and the THR5A that you've got there.
Now the 5A I'm just going to put to one side for a minute because this is an acoustic guitar amplifier and we're going to do a separate video about that. So search through our channel and find that one if you're more of an acoustic guy. But for now, so just recap again. I remember we shot the original THR video about a year ago and it's an amazing product. We've sold hundreds of them in the last 12 months. But just recap, why is THR different from your normal practice amp?
Sure, well the idea of THR really was to be everything that you want from an amp when you're not on stage. So THR kind of stands for third, and the idea was this is your third amp. Your first amp's a great big stack, your second amp's maybe a little combo, this is your third amp and for everything else. And we wanted to make something that basically is just perfect for everything you're doing when you're not gigging or rehearsing. So it's a great sounding little guitar practice amp at low volume, so you get really good, organic, natural, useful tone, but at kind of house volumes. Works great as stereo playback for your iPod or your MP3 player, USB interface both for your music coming out of your computer and for recording as well, battery powered or mains powered. And the idea was just to get everything in one box that you need from an amp when you're at home.
And wasn't this kind of like a joint venture between sort of Yamaha kind of home hi-fi and Yamaha sort of musical instruments? Because I must admit, one of the things that impressed me most about THR when I first heard it was really, if you look at practice amplifiers, all a practice amplifier is exactly the same technology that you get in a big amp, just in a small amplifier, with no real consideration for how it's used differently. And THR was kind of cool because they took this vibe from the Yamaha hi-fi guys saying, yeah, do you know, if we're playing at home, we need a different kind of driver, a near-field driver. We want to add some spatial effects to make it sound bigger. It kind of can look a bit different. And then the music guys or the musical instrument guys kind of came in and said, yeah, and this is how we make amp models now. And it was a very cool collaboration. I really like the THR. So why then did you, what's the need here, or what's the point then of bringing out the two new versions of it?
Well, this one was kind of like most modelling digital amps are, which is that it actually does a little bit of everything. So in the 5 guitar amp models, because on the 10 you've got 5 electric models and bass, acoustic and flat, and on the THR5 you've just got those 5 electric models. And those 5 amp models run everything from clean to super high gain. So it's that, well, you've got a little bit of everything that you want from an amp in there, which is great actually if you want an all-rounder. But what happened was when we launched it and we started playing with it and we started talking to people, they were saying, oh, but I really like this sound. I just find most of the time I'm using this channel. And to be honest, on mine, I'm spend 90% of the time just using the lead sound on mine. I don't really use many of the other sounds. It's just become that one amp. So what we decided to do was, rather than trying to cover every bass, well, let's really dial in on a couple of tones and make an amp that's got some variations, some really subtle variations of a different type of tone. Because the VCM modelling technology that we use to do the physical modelling for the circuitry, we can be really, really, really precise. So actually what we've now got is 2 different models that are focused on very different tones, and you've got 5 or 6 different amps within that kind of genre, but all have really well, subtle but obvious. It sounds a bit of a stupid thing to say, but they're very, very different, but they're all very much of a type. So THR10C is kind of our boutique combo, kind of low gain, hand-wired combo amps version. THR10X is extreme super high gain stacks.
So the cream one, the original THR10 and 5, they're not discontinued. That's carrying on. That's gonna generally, that'll appeal to anybody that you know, just wants a jack of all trades type amplifier. So we're going to get into, I think, the actual amp modellings on the C now. What we'll probably do a bit later on the video, or if you want, you know, more information, by all means go and find the original THR video that we did, which I'm sure Tim will link somehow by the magic of YouTube to where my hands are. And that'll explain in more depth about the kind of the USB output and some of the more sort of, I suppose, the features that you might get into using after you've kind of, you know, got through the basic sort of tonal settings. So we're really just going to focus probably on the tonal element of THR-C and THR-X today. Ooh, knocks one off. They're very reliable as well. I've done that about 4 times, knocked this off already. It still works. Okay, so we've got a close-up camera here. Hopefully you can see my finger going along the bottom here. And just as a real quickie, guitar plugs in one end. You then choose your amp model from here. All the controls along the middle you'll be completely familiar with if you own a guitar amplifier, because it's just gain, master, bass, middle and treble. And then, like a lot of effects units nowadays, you simply dial up a type of modulation effect with this control or a type of ambient effect with this control. At the very end here you've got 2 outputs, one for your guitar and one for a backing track that you might want to mix in, which we're going to be doing later as well, so that you can get a good blend of the 2. So you've got 5 memory locations, so if you want to store something and recall it at just the touch of a button, you can, and you've got a tuner built in as well. Amazingly, I can't think that you'd really need anything else while you're at home, and of course, as I said, this doubles up as a sort of a really great sounding iPod player as well, or any kind of MP3 player that you've got. So first of all then, let's go through the amps. Deluxe, what's that based on?
Well, the first thing then is the way that VCM works is VCM is our own modelling technology, and we use it to model a circuit. So most people, when they're making a digital amp or they're making some kind of a DSP signal processor, they use all the power of DSP to alter the output of their circuit. So they make an amp circuit and then effectively run it through DSP and use that to tweak the tone.
Yeah.
We do something a little bit different. We actually use the DSP power to make a physical model and make a virtual circuit in there. And what that means is we actually model it at component level. So we're modelling this resistor and this capacitor and this valve and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And it's quite good fun actually when we get into, well, I want to try it with these valves. But the program inside of it, the developers have all kinds of fun. And what we can do with that is basically what it's like for them is it's kind of like a virtual toolkit.
Yeah.
So what we do is we start from circuits and ideas of other amps, of classic amps. And then we use VCM to modify them. Okay. So a little bit like you get like boutique amp manufacturers, and it's based on, Boogies are based on Fenders originally, but they tweaked them and they modelled them.
Yeah.
They were doing it with physical components and a soldering iron. We're effectively doing the same thing but with software. So all of our amp models are based on real amps, but they're all modified.
Okay.
So we've got different controls. Some of these amps don't have EQ, or some of them only have a single volume, they're not master volume.
Yeah.
All of our amp models have got gain and master and 3-band EQ.
Yeah.
And we're tweaking the components using VCM.
Okay.
So each of them is modelled on a real amp, but it's not a copy of that amp. It's not trying to be like it. It's our version of it, if you like. So Deluxe is a Fender Deluxe.
Yep.
And this was in response to the clean sound on the original THR is a twin reverb, and it gets very dirty very, very quickly. We wanted to do that on purpose because we wanted a really nice kind of gainy, low gain sound. But actually we had a few people say to us, I'd like something that just stays a little bit cleaner when I turn it up. So it's still got the natural organic kind of sound, but it stays clean much, much longer.
Let's have a
so
listen.
Sounds something like this. So it's much, much, much cleaner. It's really hard to get that kind of level of cleanliness at any volume out of the original THR because that model breaks up really easy. But this one stays a lot cleaner. You've still got a little bit of breakup in there.
Yeah.
So you can still, you've got that kind of just bit of breakup, but it's much. Much cleaner.
This might be, as it's the clean sound, probably a good one to just whiz through the effects on there.
Sure.
So there's the tap control is presumably just for the delay, is it?
Just for the delay. And this is something that's worth mentioning actually on these new models, is we've changed the effects slightly.
Oh, okay.
So the delay on this has changed from a delay to it's now a VCM tape echo.
Okay.
So it's a proper analog tape echo simulation. So on this one, it's digital delay.
Kind of making an assumption that the guy that would have a boutique little cat combo would probably prefer to have a tape echo than a digital echo.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So this time you've got tape echo on the delay, and actually we've just tweaked the parameters of all the effects slightly. So on the modulation effects, it's still chorus, phaser, flanger, tremolo, but we've tweaked the parameters a little bit to try and suit the character of these amps. So, for example, if you've got the exact same position on each of these three, it's actually going to sound a little different because we just wanted something that suits the character of this amp.
So this is the deluxe sound with no chorus and just some reverb. That's the chorus. It's a flanger, I guess. Brian Adams for the win. Phaser. And tremolo. Does that work on tap tempo?
No. Okay. The tap tempo only does the delay or tape echo.
No problem.
But you can, of course, hook it up via USB to the editor. Massive editability on the parameters for the effects. You can really get in depth.
This probably is, as I said, the USB side of the THR we do talk about quite a lot more in the original video, but just to give you the 10-second kind of overview, it comes with an editor. So like a lot of multi-effects units nowadays, you get some editing capacity from the knobs that are on the top, and then you get more in-depth editing from hooking it up via USB and the editor. Yeah,
you get more in-depth editing, but you also get some kind of hidden functions that you can't get to on this. So via the editor, you can tweak all of the parameters, but you can also get to a fantastic room reverb that you can't get on the unit itself. You've got a choice of either a stomp box or a rack compressor. You can control the noise gate, and you can select different speaker simulators.
So if we presumably all of that information will be available on the website.
Yep.
So what we'll do is we'll put all of that extra functionality on the Andertons website, which you can go and visit if you also go here, and we'll put a proper link to that in the notes section under this video. The other thing that, if I remember rightly, that the USB output did on the THR series, which I thought was very cool, was if you use the output as an audio output, so you actually record your guitar into whatever your recording packages that you've got.
Comes with Cubase.
Oh, cool! It comes with no, that's right. It did, didn't it?
Comes with Cubase AI 6. Comes in the box.
Yeah. What it did, if I remember rightly, was recorded the guitar sound as a dry and a wet track, didn't it?
Yeah, because it's USB 2, so it's multi-channel output.
Yeah.
You can select two outputs from the THR. So one is the wet track with the effects and the speaker simulators and everything.
Yeah.
The other, and they're completely selectable as independent tracks. So you don't have to record both. They're not linked in any way.
Yeah.
The other one is a completely clean DI signal, so you can reamp it through anything you want.
Just in case you guys aren't sure what that kind of technology and all that terminology means, so you're in your you've got your two tracks in your sequencer that you're using, and one of them is going to sound exactly how the guitar sounds with all the effects and the stereo simulation, everything on here, and the other one's completely dry. And you think, well, why would I do that? And the idea is that if, when you come to your final mix and your drummer's playing, your bass player's playing, you're just thinking, do you know what, that guitar sound isn't right, you can refeed that dry signal back into the THR10 or into any other effects processor you might want to do, and select a different amp sounds, different effects, whatever, and not have to play the part again. So it's a pretty cool kind of, it's quite a pro feature on essentially what is a relatively inexpensive practice amp, isn't it?
It really is, and actually it's a really good editing feature as well.
Yeah.
So if you're playing and maybe you screw up the solo part in a song and you need to do an edit, The final sound with all the simulators and the effects and stuff, the waveform tends to be just like a big lump of wave.
Yeah.
So finding an edit point, finding a tight edit point is really hard. But on a dry DI signal, each individual note is much, much clearer. So actually a lot of pro studios will DI everything for exactly that, like you're saying. If you need to reamp it, you've got the original part just perfectly there and you can put it through anything. But also, if you want to do that little bit of editing, it will make your life so much easier.
Massively easier. So, okay, so we've kind of had a quick look at the effects. I'm just going to show you the delay sounds and how the tap tempo works, and then we'll go back and focus more on the actual amp models. So I'm just going to now turn off the modulation effects and put on one of the delay effects and show you how the tap tempo works to enable you to get it. So at the moment, the default is a very, very fast slap. So the way I get change the tempo of the delay is very, very simple. I've put the tape echo on its kind of loudest sort of repeat mode so that it's most obvious for you, but you can adjust that with this control here. And if I just want the delay to kind of go at that sort of tempo, all I do is I press this button 3 or 4 times in that tempo, and there's your tape delay.
And it's a proper kind of tape echo simulation, so it's dull, it's got a little bit of wow and flutter, and it's actually quite a low quality delay, but that's how tape echo
so
sounds.
If you play a cool. So, and don't forget as well, whatever you do with the reverb or the delay or the effects and any of the amp settings, you can store under one of the memory locations ever so easy. So let's get on though now. So I'm going to go back to just a normal reverb and leave the effects off for the rest of this demo, apart from reverb. And let's just do the next amp, which is called Class A. So what's that?
Based on a matchless DC30. Oh. Now this is pretty cool because what you've got here is a little amp that is small and practical and not too expensive, that's giving you access to some seriously high-end tones.
Voted best amp of the 90s by Guitarist magazine, I think, the DC30.
Really? Yeah.
It was like a super hot rodded AC30, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly that. And
so if we could gun this a bit more. Very cool.
And this is, again, because we are actually creating virtual circuits using the VCM, the controls respond the same as they would respond in the real circuit. So one of the things about this circuit is the EQ, frankly, is a bit of a pain. It's really interactive, so when you turn the treble up, it does stuff to the bass in the middle, a little bit like the same thing happens on boogies. They're a bit of a pain. You think, I want a little bit more treble, you turn the treble up, everything else changes as well. You get exactly the same thing. So the EQ is way more interactive on this model than on the Deluxe or on a couple of the others. And on top of that, you've still got the response of the gain and volume controls the same as you would get on the real amp. So as we turn up the master control, it's effectively driving the output tubes harder.
Okay.
And here it's just getting a little bit more gainy, the compression's changing.
I should just mention, as I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, if you're watching this video and then watching the video we did on the cream one, you're thinking, it's a lot less hummy, this grey one, or blue one, sorry. That's because the very, very first batch of these cream amplifiers shipped with a very noisy power supply that Yamaha very quickly sorted out and provided everybody with a brand new power supply. So if you've read on a forum or you recall that old video and been put off of THR because of background noise issues, don't panic. This is how they are now and have been for 8 or 9 months now, so it was just a power supply issue, so don't worry about that. We're going to go over to US Blues now. So what was US Blues?
Based on kind of a Fender Blues Junior type
circuit.
Cool.
That's one of my favourite, as you guys know if you've watched other videos, one of my favourite videos, favourite amps rather. So let's have a little listen.
One of the nice things as well about this, these amps, is they're really sensitive to the guitar, the same way a little tube amp is.
Yeah.
So if we'll just turn the and that's it. That's the tone and the volume control.
Yeah.
Just everything's up. But just back the tone off a little bit. Really responds.
Yeah. That's very cool, very cool. Okay, so the next one then is called Britt Blues. Am I going with Blues Breaker on this one?
Something like that.
Just like the real thing, the tone controls don't do anything.
Almost nothing. No effect. Perfect, see?
It's exactly like a Blues Breaker.
It's like a real circuit. But again, it's that thing, so with everything up, just back it off a little. That's a really, this won't really come across on a video, but the response and the feel of playing this thing is like playing a tube.
A lot of the other videos I've seen of THR, when you've got sort of other pro players using them in their dressing room and stuff, they say that, don't they? That there's a lot of that feel thing comes along. Okay, so finalement, Mini. What is Mini?
Well, now this is nothing like the real circuit. But it came from an idea of something like the Dr. Z Mini Z.
Okay.
Basically a single preamp tube and a single output tube and one control on a Dr. Z Mini Z.
Right.
We got gain, master, 3-band EQ, loads of stuff. But if you just leave the EQ all flat in the middle, it's just
let's give it a go.
Heavenly kind of gain. And this one's really, really sensitive, so.
Well, that is definitely one of my favourite sounds. So what I'm going to do to just quickly demonstrate how you would save that, basically once you've got it sounding how you want, you choose the user memory location you want. You've got 5 of these and you just hold it down until something flashes here in the little #1 thing, and that's basically it. So if I turn the amplifier off now, come back the following week, want to get that sound back, just turn it back on, press #1, bang, I'm back in.
And of course, again, if you use the editor software with it, it can act as a librarian as well. So you can save basically unlimited numbers of patches in there. And you can swap and email the library files as well. They're just a tiny little library file. So if you know somebody else that's got THR, you can send your patches to other people.
Is there a community thing on the Yamaha?
There isn't actually. No, we haven't.
Maybe you should
really
start
done that.
one. And if you do, put it in a comment section below, because I think it's a great idea, and you can have that for free. So what I'm going to do now is just quickly show you how cool this can sound just as a straightforward sort of music player. If you want to use it in your, whilst you're not playing guitar, just have it on in the kitchen for a bit of background music. We'll just play like a few seconds of a track here. So this is something chosen at random off my iPhone. So there you go, and the idea, of course, is that you can jam along to that. So if you've got...
not going to happen.
No, we're not going to jam along to that one, but I've got some blues tracks in my phone that we might jam along to a bit later on, which is kind of cool. So that's the THR10C.
Yep.
It's going to be in the shops from...
end of October.
End of October, cool. And you'll be able to place pre-orders for this on the Andertons website anytime from...
Now.
From now, awesome. So I hope you've liked the video that we've just done on the THR10C. Now we're going to go shoot a video, which is probably going to have a lot less talky in it and a lot more shredding of guitar, of the THR10X, which in this very kind of American World War II styly green combat-esque box is full of high gain amplifiers. But that's going to be in a different video. So if you want to watch that video, you need to click here now. Okay, well, if you don't want to hear this one, I hope you've enjoyed what you heard on this one. I've been the Captain.
I've been Julian.
And we'll see you later.